Hi everyone, it's Bev here, your mental health coach, providing tips, tools, techniques and advice helping you to stay mentally strong in these difficult times and beyond. The topic for this video is communication. You'd think that because us humans have been given the gift of words that we would be better able to communicate. That doesn't seem to be the case. People don't say what they mean. They don't mean what they say. We don't pay attention and listen to other people, and we get it wrong. So I'm going to give you 5 pointers that's going to enhance your communication skills. It's going to help you whether you're asking for something, whether you're negotiating, whether you're in a meeting and you have to state your case, whatever. And however you're communicating, these 5 pointers are going to help. So, number one is being assertive. That is standing up for yourself and speaking up for yourself. Now, the other modes of behavior are being passive or being aggressive. Let me talk to being passive for a moment. Passivity is when you hide your light under a bush. It's kind of you presenting yourself like a doormat and giving your power to other people. So the kind of language that a passive person would use would be dismissive language. They'd say, it's only my opinion. Can I say something? Sorry, can I interrupt? And this style of communication means that you're always seeking permission. Can I say something? It's only me. So you're putting yourself down all the time. And this style of communication is fodder for people that want to take advantage of you. The other end of the scale is people that communicate aggressively. So they are very personal with their remarks. They're borderline rude sometimes. They make a mountain out of a molehill. They are prone to exaggeration. So they would say something like, oh, you're always doing things like that, and it's really quite personal and intimidating. So somewhere in the middle is assertiveness, speaking up for yourself and not giving your power away to other people, or, as the aggressive people do, imposing their power, their opinions, their will on other people. In order to be assertive, you need to be authentic. You need to know who you are. You need to know what you stand for. And hand in hand with being assertive is having a high self-esteem. So what do you think about yourself deep down? Do you appreciate yourself? Do you like yourself? Do you respect yourself? This will all come out in the spoken word. So the assertive person says, this is me, this is what I do, this is what I believe in, and I'm going to state my case really clearly. So you choose language which is in my opinion. So it's authentic, it's my opinion, and I own it. I choose not to. I have choice in my life, so I choose not to do this and I choose not to do that. Now, being assertive is a journey, right? And every day you give yourself feedback and you learn in which way can I improve in that. You learn how to say no. You learn to create positive boundaries around you. You learn to speak your truth. So that's number 1, being assertive. Number 2 is clarity. Oh my goodness, this is so important when you are communicating. So in order to be clear, because some people, they start off a conversation and then it dwindles out at the end and they use words like, well, blah blah blah, and yeah and you know what I mean. Well, no, we don't know what you mean. You need to be clear. And how you can be clear is to develop something called outcome thinking. So what is the outcome for this meeting? What is the outcome for this negotiation? What is the outcome of this sentence. How am I going to finish this sentence? And in order to do that, you go to the end. You start with the end of the communication. So how do I want this to end? So therefore you're in charge of a sentence, a meeting, a lifetime of communication by being clear. Number 3 is empathy. Now, you've heard me say many times that being empathetic is a superpower. It is one, it's up there in the emotional intelligence. And how can you show empathy? You can show empathy when you're communicating with people is by not being adversarial, right? You say, I appreciate your point of view. I get it. I understand what you're talking about. I respect your point of view. All of that shows and it creates connection, and it's not like me and you opposed. No, we're trying to understand. We're trying to understand each other. Now, in being empathetic, empaths do not use a simple little word. It's not in their vocabulary, and that word is but. So can you imagine if I said to you, I agree with you, but it means I don't agree with you at all. At all. So imagine if I said, that woman over there, she's very beautiful, but thin. It suggests that she's too thin. Remember when your boss used to call you into the office and say, you're doing a great job, but, and you forget the fact that you've been doing a great job, you hang on to what comes after the but. So use another word to show empathy, and that simple little word is and. I appreciate and. I respect your point of view, and I have a different point of view. I understand what you're saying, and let's explore this a little bit more. And it creates communication. It creates unity, actually. So that's number 3. Number 4 is when you are communicating, use the power of 3. People that are great at communicating have used the power of 3 throughout history. I came, I saw, I conquered. 3 blind mice. You can probably add your own 3s. When you are sending an email, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you've told them. When you are writing anything, it has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So think about triangulating your communication. It will put you in such good stead. You have the opportunity to be understood, because the first time you say something, people are distracted, they're not listening. The second time you say it, maybe they're still distracted, but the third time, if they don't get it after you've said it 3 times in a different way, then there's something wrong with them, perhaps, maybe. If you're taking something back to the shop, do you remember those shops? You're taking something back to the shop and, you say, this doesn't fit, and they're trying to give you all excuses why they don't exchange goods and what have you. It doesn't fit. And so I'm taking it back. I want my money back. And they will give you some other things. You want a credit note or what have you. It doesn't fit. I'm bringing it back. I want my money back. That's the art of persuasion right there. And then the 5th and final one, and I think if anybody asks me what is the most important skill of communication, and it has to be number 5, which is listening. Listening. Most of us do not listen. We don't listen to understand another person, to get the other person, to walk a mile in that person's shoes. No, we listen for the pause so that we can get in with our point of view. So we're talking at people instead of talking with people. Now, great speakers listen. They listen hard. When I was in therapy school, we were taught in so many ways to listen to the essence of what people are saying, how they say it, the emotion behind what they say, the words they choose to use, how many times they use the same word to emphasize their point or the strength of feeling. If you don't listen, you're missing so many tricks. And if you listen, then you have more ammunition. You have the data if you listen. How can you act if you haven't listened to what the person said and the meaning behind that? Listening is key to communication. Maybe we should be still. Maybe we should be silent and let people speak their truth. Maybe we should communicate to understand rather than to jump in. Many people, when you're talking to them, you feel like you can't get a word in edgeways. Many people, when you're speaking to them, you feel like they're just not interested. You know, like people will say, how was your weekend? They don't give a damn how your weekend was. They just want to get in to say, talk about their wonderful weekend. So, in order to communicate more effectively, we need to be more assertive. We need to be authentic. We need to speak our truth. 2, we need to be clear. What do we mean? Why are we talking? And that means go to the end of the communication. Number 3, empathetic. Be empathetic. Communicate to understand what the person is speaking about, what they're going through. Number 4, use the power of 3. So tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them, and then tell them what you've told them. And number 5, the key to all communication is listening. And I just want to add a little bit more here. When you are listening, you can demonstrate that you're listening by paraphrasing. So what I hear you saying is this. Or you can say, so how do you mean? Not what do you mean? Because what is kind of like, I'm accusing you. What do you mean? How is about process. How did you get to that thought? Now, communication is about translating your ideas into a language that people will receive. And if they receive it well, the world's your oyster. I think I'll leave it there. Until next time, stay safe, stay sane.